welcome to another episode of the Planet Coaster Museum. If you don't know about this series, it's about creating famous paintings of the history of art in Planet Coaster, of course using the art shapes. I also will say that this is pretty difficult because it's tried to be done with the guest size, so it can be used as real paintings in the real game for your building interiors in your parks. And every painting that I do will be uploaded to the workshop. And let's start with the episode of today. The episode today is about Vincent van Gogh. I hope that I pronounced that correctly. And it's one of his probably most famous work, the Starry Night. Of course, this was a post-impressionism painting in 1889 and was made in St. Paul, the Mausoleo Lunatic Asylum, where he was staying voluntarily because he was at a part of his life where he was not really happy and he was feeling mad. So yeah, he stayed there voluntarily. And during those years where he was staying that lunatic asylum, he actually made a lot of versions of the same, let's say, landscape that he saw from his window. And one of the most famous ones was, of course, the Starry Night we are making right now. And the curious thing about this is that he didn't like the painting that much. He sent a lot of paintings from the landscapes he painted, and he told in some letters that which paintings he liked, and the Starry Night was not one of them. In one of his letters, he even stated, and let me quote him, all in all, the only things I consider a little good in it are the wheat field, the mountain, the orchard, the olive trees with the blue hills, and the portrait, and the entrance to the quarry. And the rest says nothing to me. The rest includes the Starry Night. And that's the funny part, because it actually turned the most famous painting he did with his portrait and some other landscapes. And you will see mostly in the exhibition they made about Van Gogh in museums. This painting is actually right now in the MoMA, in the Museum of Modern Art in New York. If you wanted to see it in real life, it's a real amazing painting. I had the pleasure of seeing it when it was there. And the strokes of the painting are simply marvelous. And talking about a little bit about the reproduction I made in Planet Coaster, that's actually what the most, let's say, the most important aspects of the reproduction. I tried to emulate the style of strokes that Van Gogh gave to the painting. And as you see, I used very, very, very thin lines to give that type of stroke he made for the painting. And something very important in post-impressionism, if you get near the painting, you see the lines and the strokes, but if you get really far of it, like if you see it from afar in the same room, you can see everything flow, and that's an amazing thing. And that's actually something that happens with the reproduction. If you want to see it, if you download this painting and actually see it from a little bit afar, you will see that it really looks like the real painting because of the type of strokes it has. It's very post-impressionism. And I actually really had fun, really lots of fun making this painting, because it was really great having all those lines and that looked like the real thing, and changing the slightly the colors like in the real painting to give it like the flow of the clouds and the wind and different things like that. For the smallest parts, it gets a little bit difficult, like the village at the below part, as you will see in a few minutes. But for the sky itself, it really made it look great. That's something I couldn't get really well with the La Gioconda, and of course with the Both Roses painting, because I didn't try to make something like emulating the type of painting that they were making. Like, of course, one is wet on wet and the other is Renaissance, and they're really hard to get right with with square shapes and things like that. But this time I think it turned really great. Talking a little bit more about Van Gogh's life while I paint the Starry Night. Another interesting thing is that he sold only one painting during his lifetime. He wasn't considered a genius or anything like that during his lifetime, like a lot of painters. But he was actually considered a madman and a failure. He only became famous after his suicide. He actually got a gun and shot himself, not in the head, but in the chest, and died 2 days later. His actual reputation began to grow during the early 20th century as elements of his painting style came to be incorporated by the Fauves and the German Expressionists. And he attained then widespread critical, commercial, and popular success in the next decades, because he was remembered as an important but tragic painter, and his post-impressionism works were looked with other eyes after his death. Another famous part you probably most of you probably know, is that he cut his ear. And that's actually happened because he suffered from psychotic episodes, and he actually didn't eat that much and drink a lot. So he was actually drinking one day heavily with his friend Gauguin, that was another painter, and he actually threatened him. There was a part where he threatened him with a razor, and that's when his friendship finished with him. And actually that's the time when he just got the razor and cut a part of his left ear. At least I suppose that's better than killing your friend, well, ex-friend right now. But yeah, Van Gogh exists in the public imagination as the quintessential misunderstood genius. There's probably have been 100 million parodies and tributes to his work and himself because of his life. And some of you may have seen the Doctor Who episode, the famous Doctor Who episode, Vincent and the Doctor. I will say it's an amazing episode, and the ending it's really you cry a lot because of the way they make this part where Vincent van Gogh, the Doctor travels with Vincent to a French museum, a Paris museum, and he shows the work he was making and how good it was, because he was thinking about he was having suicide thoughts. So the companion didn't want him to be suicide, so at least the Doctor wanted him to be happy before he died, to see his work, how important was his work for his life. And there's a part where in the museum where Vincent starts crying when a curator in the museum starts talking about his life and how important it is to the history of art. And it's an amazing moment, because you start crying with Vincent, because the music and everything there, it's amazing. It's an amazing scene. And actually we have also a time traveling TV series in Spain. It's become really famous in these last 2 seasons, because it's probably the only good TV series we have. The only, like, it looks like BBC or something like that. And it's about a time traveling troupe of 3 people that work for the Ministry of Time, the Spanish Ministry of Time, that it's like a government thing. And they actually have to save history of turning bad, because there are some bad guys that want to change it for their own gains. And one of the episodes is about the writer, the super famous, probably the most famous writer has ever existed, called Miguel de Cervantes, that wrote it, Don Quixote de la Mancha. And they wanted, the creators of the series are very fans of Doctor Who, so they wanted to create a similar thing to the one of Vincent van Gogh in Doctor Who. So they made like Cervantes want to kill himself. So the 3 main characters bring him to the present to show him how much his book and his writing was important for the history of Spanish literature, and not only that, but literature itself. And talking a little bit on topic right now again. As you can see, I'm using the cones again to make the stars of the painting, because you can't get small enough with the lines, with the semicircles. And the star at the right of the cypress tree, that's actually not a star. Something interesting is that it was Venus. It's the Venus that was really bright during that year and that season of the year. So that's why Vincent van Gogh thought it was a star and make it so bright and big. As you can see, this painting has a lot of details here and there, and it's super interesting to know more about it. If you really want to know more about it, there's a lot of articles about it on the internet and things like that. Because I hope this series also brings art to people that don't usually know about it very much. And that's it for today's episode. I hope you had fun watching the time lapse and me talking about a little bit about Vincent van Gogh and the Starry Night painting. And I also hope to see you next time.